Welcome back. We are so glad you can join us today for a look into what is one of the most culturally rich and often most surprising traditions we've ever explored.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Roshi. Our mission for this conversation is clear. We want you, the listener, to pick up essential vocabulary and expressions related to the British holiday season. Whether you're planning a visit, chatting with a British friend, or just trying to understand the latest festive film references, this is your shortcut to being well-informed. We are going to walk through the entire season from when the shops start getting ready in, mid-November, all the way through the aftermath on Boxing Day.
A long season.
A very long season. So I suggest we start preparing right now. Are you ready to put on your most comfortable and possibly most garish jumper?
I am absolutely ready. Let's get into the festive mood.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the sheer length and, the slow buildup of the British Christmas season. It absolutely does not wait for December 1st, does it?
Oh, not at all. The commercial world starts getting ready early. And I mean early. Our sources indicate that by mid-November, shops are already playing those classic carols, and the supermarket chains are competing fiercely with these highly emotional, really nostalgic Christmas adverts.
That early start is such a defining feature, and you mentioned the adverts. We can't overstate the cultural events surrounding those, can we?
No, you really can't. They're so much more than just commercials. They're like national cultural markers.
Yeah.
Companies like John Lewis spend fortunes, and their adverts often launch in early November. And their release, it's like it signals cultural permission for everyone to officially start feeling festive.
It creates this huge buzz, doesn't it? People actually wait for them.
A tremendous buzz. People wait to see who has the best, the most emotional, the most nostalgic, or, the most creatively animated advert that year. It's a massive conversation starter.
That's so fascinating because in other places, the tradition is often just about showing sales. This sounds more like an artistic competition that sets the entire emotional tone for the season.
It absolutely is. It's signaling not just what to buy, but how to feel.
And speaking of atmosphere, when those lights finally go up on the streets, they really do transform the mood.
Oh, completely. Especially given the short, dark winter days. And this brings us to a really crucial vocabulary point.
Right, because the term for them in the UK isn't Christmas lights or string lights.
No, not really. They are almost universally called fairy lights.
Fairy lights. I love that term. It sounds so much more whimsical and less, technical than Christmas lights.
It does. It evokes a slightly magical, softer, glowing quality, which is really central to that feeling of British winter coziness, that hygge feeling. These fairy lights are essential for brightening the environment.
And that atmosphere is also very carefully cultivated inside the home. The tradition of the indoor Christmas tree is universal now, but the history of how it became universal in Britain is very, very specific.
It is. It all traces back to the monarchy.
Right, a pivotal moment in the 1840s.
Exactly. The tradition was brought to England by Prince Albert, who was Queen Victoria's German husband. Before he introduced it, the idea of a decorated indoor tree just wasn't widespread.
But then the royals did it.
And that's all it took. When the hugely influential royal family was seen decorating a tree in Windsor Castle, it instantly became the fashionable, essential item for the middle and upper classes. It profoundly shaped the modern British Christmas.
And what do they hang on that tree? This is another one of those key vocabulary differences that signals if you're, fluent in British holiday terms. What many people would call an ornament is nearly always called
a bauble.
A bauble, yeah.
It's a term almost exclusively used for the hanging decorations on the Christmas tree, especially the shiny spherical ones. If you ask a British person where they keep their Christmas ornaments, they might look a bit confused.
But they'll know exactly what a box of baubles is.
They will, yes. It's such an easy way to switch your terminology to sound more authentic.
And there's this really captivating superstition attached to the decorations and the tree, not just about when you put them up, but a very strict deadline for when they must come down.
Oh, this is non-negotiable cultural folklore.
Right.
The Christmas tree and all the decorations, they have to be taken down within 12 days of Christmas. It usually concludes on January 5th or 6th, which is Epiphany.
And the superstition is extremely strong.
Extremely. If you leave them up even one day longer, you will supposedly face bad luck for the entire coming year.
That urgency to quickly dismantle everything really highlights the importance of observing those traditional timelines, doesn't it? It suggests a strong cultural adherence to ritual.
It really does. And one more preparation tradition that starts early is, of course, the Advent calendar. This is such a great example of building anticipation day by day for those 24 days leading up to Christmas Eve.
The Advent calendar. I love those. Opening a little door each day from December 1st. It's such a classic countdown mechanism.
It is. And while they originally contain pictures or religious verses, the modern version almost always contains chocolate,
Which mean?
which means you have a situation where people, especially children, are essentially having a small piece of chocolate for breakfast every single morning in December.
It's a sweet, daily ritual that keeps the excitement level really high.
And a great lesson in delayed gratification, I suppose.
I suppose so.
Hmm.
Now, before we leave the preparation phase, we have to mention the office and school environment. What's the social significance of the school nativity play and the infamous office party?
Well, the nativity play is a total staple. You have children dressed as shepherds, angels, and wise men, often delivering their lines with, great nervousness. It's a beloved rite of passage.
And for the adults.
The adult version of that is the office Christmas party. This is a crucial social event in the British calendar, where the atmosphere encourages everyone to just let loose.
And the phrase we've heard is that people get quite drunk and jolly. That word jolly seems important here.
Jolly, it means cheerfully celebratory, often in a slightly boisterous, almost old-fashioned way. The office party is a chance to release the pressure of the year, often resulting in highly memorable, if occasionally embarrassing, stories the next day.
I can imagine. It's seen as a necessary part of workplace social bonding, despite the inevitable next-day cringe.
Totally. And the clothing tradition associated with this time is another great phrase for you to learn. Christmas Jumper Day.
A jumper being a sweater, of course.
Of course. And Christmas Jumper Day usually happens a few weeks before Christmas. It's often organized for charity, encouraging everyone from school children to CEOs to wear their brightest, most elaborate, or just the tackiest festive knitwear they can find.
So the rule is simple. The more sparkles, flashing lights, tinsel, or, oversized snowmen you can fit onto the garment, the better.
This is a foundational distinction for English learners. In the UK, he is consistently, almost exclusively, referred to as Father Christmas.
Not Santa Claus.
Not really, no. It's a subtle detail, but it immediately signals your familiarity with British customs.
And I know that in many places, children mail their letters to the North Pole, but our sources point out a much more dramatic, almost magical way British children historically send their wish lists.
That's right. While mailing letters certainly happens, the traditional, more romantic approach is to throw the letters into the fireplace.
Into the fire.
Yes. The belief is that the sudden puff of smoke carries their wishes and requests straight up the chimney to Father Christmas. It adds a powerful visual and a wonderful sense of, theatricality to the process.
That is a beautiful image. And what about the receptacle for the gifts?
Yeah.
Because the custom surrounding the stocking, or sometimes the pillowcase, is a little different too.
It is. While many modern families might hang them by the fireplace mantle, historically the stockings were often hung around the bed.
Right there when you wake up.
Exactly. The idea was that the children would wake up on Christmas morning surrounded by small gifts or stocking fillers right in their immediate vicinity. And they often use a pillowcase for larger items because once you've received all those small treats, you need some serious capacity.
And traditionally, the contents of the stocking were quite utilitarian, weren't they? It wasn't always about expensive toys.
That's true. Historically, they contained practical items and maybe a piece of fruit, like an orange, which was a real luxury in the depths of winter.
And today?
Today, of course, the contents are much more varied. Small sweets and notoriously noisy, cheap plastic toys that provide momentary joy but are destined for the bin before New Year's.
Now let's talk about the necessary fuel for Father Christmas's very long night. In the U.S., it's often milk and cookies. But British Father Christmas is definitely treated like a proper adult, requiring adult sustenance.
Absolutely. This is perhaps one of the most delightful quirks of the tradition.
I love this part.
Instead of milk and cookies, a British family will leave out a mince pie and a small glass of brandy.
Brandy.
Brandy. The logic is impeccable. He has a long, cold journey ahead and needs proper warming and sustenance. The key phrase to remember is the simple justification. He is a grown-up.
A grown-up drink for a grown-up job.
Exactly. The brandy is for warmth, and the mince pie is the perfect, dense, comforting snack.
And a mince pie, just for clarification, is a small pastry filled with a mix of dried fruits and spices.
Right. There is usually no actual meat in a modern mince pie, despite the name. It's a classic British Christmas pastry.
And we mustn't forget the transportation.
No, we mustn't. Rudolph also needs energy, so a carrot is left out for him.
The carrot for Rudolph. It ensures the whole team is taken care of. And of course, by morning, the evidence is gone. Just crumbs and an empty glass remain.
Which is all the proof you need. If we connect this to the broader picture, this tradition really emphasizes hospitality and recognition of the effort involved. It's a small but very ritualistic act of thanks.
Before we move to the main event, there's a newer, more modern tradition that has become a major part of the countdown, designed to keep children excited. The naughty or cheeky elves.
Ah, yes, the elves on the shelf phenomenon, adapted and popularized in Britain.
Right.
These are small elf characters that parents hide in different, often creative spots around the house each morning, and the whole point is that they have caused mischief.
Mischief, meaning they have behaved badly in a playful but not harmful way overnight.
Exactly. So the parents are essentially moving these elves to make it look like they've been playing with the sugar, unraveling the toilet paper, or, creating some miniature mess.
It sounds like exhausting fun for the parents.
It is, but it's a fun, imaginative countdown device. And the word cheeky is a fantastic British word for you to know here. It means slightly disrespectful or playfully rude, but in a charming way.
So the elves are never truly malicious.
No, they're just cheeky, causing a bit of harmless domestic chaos. It keeps the children engaged and talking about what the elves did last night, building that anticipation daily.
I can imagine that being a fantastic way to encourage narrative and vocabulary practice. But now let's shift to the main event, Christmas Day itself. The morning is, of course, for opening presents, but the real star of the afternoon is the meal.
The Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner, it's a marathon event typically eaten around 2 p.m. It is the undisputed culinary highlight of the entire year.
And while the centerpiece is universally the roast turkey, the side dishes are where the specific and sometimes baffling vocabulary really kicks in.
Oh, yes.
We have to discuss the famously divisive vegetable, Brussels sprouts.
Ah, the Brussels sprout. It is famously divisive. People either love them or they harbor a lifelong grudge against them.
Right, there's no middle ground.
None. They're small, green, cabbage-like spheres. Traditionally, they were boiled, which often resulted in a soft, rather pungent texture.
Which is why people hate them.
Which is why a lot of people hate them, yes. But increasingly now they are roasted with bacon and chestnuts, making them significantly more palatable.
But regardless, no British Christmas dinner is complete without a big bowl of Brussels sprouts, whether or not they are actually eaten.
It's the mandatory presence that matters. So what else graces the table alongside the turkey and the sprouts? We have gravy and stuffing, but two very specific terms jump out from our sources.
The first one being chipolatas.
Yes. These are essentially mini pork sausages, but critically, they are wrapped in bacon, so they're a specific type of pig in a blanket.
And they are absolutely essential.
Essential. Savory, salty, and small enough to eat several without feeling too guilty.
And the second one is something I find quite intriguing because the name is so misleading. Bread sauce.
It is definitely not a sauce for putting on bread, and that is where all the confusion lies.
Right.
It is perhaps one of the most uniquely British side dishes. It is a savory sauce thickened with actual breadcrumbs, often heavily flavored with cloves, onion, and milk.
And what is its purpose?
The key purpose, historically, was to provide a creamy, highly spiced accompaniment to moisten the turkey or other poultry. It's a very old tradition.
So if you're learning English, the takeaway is that you should not expect a thick flour-based gravy, but a creamy, almost porridge-like sauce.
Exactly. It's subtle, deeply comforting, and a crucial component of a traditional Christmas dinner. Much like the sprouts, it generates strong opinions, but its presence is mandatory for historical authenticity.
So chipolatas, bread sauce, and Brussels sprouts, three highly specific vocabulary terms. But the real drama happens after the main course. We have to talk about the grand, flaming finale, the Christmas pudding.
The Christmas pudding is an absolute institution. It is a dense, heavy, boiled cake, flavored heavily with dried fruit, spices, and crucially soaked in alcohol, often brandy or stout for weeks or even months beforehand.
The aging process is key to its richness.
Absolutely. And the ultimate climax of serving this dessert is the pyrotechnics. It is dramatically set on fire with brandy right before serving.
That's the ultimate showstopper.
It is.
It's the grand finale, often accompanied by a sprig of holly on top.
Yes, And historically, there was a risk involved with eating this flaming dessert because people would sometimes hide an actual object inside
Yeah,
it.
hidden coin tradition.
Exactly. Historically, families would hide a real silver coin, usually a sixpence, inside the pudding. The person who found it was supposedly destined for good luck or wealth in the coming year.
But there's a necessary modern caution with that.
A huge caution. Due to the choking hazard and hygiene risks, this tradition is often skipped, or families use specialized ceramic or plastic charms instead of actual currency.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So we've got the pudding, we've got the drama, but the table is still the scene of another uniquely British tradition. Christmas crackers.
Christmas crackers are an absolute essential, and they are unique. They are brightly decorated cardboard tubes that contain a small explosive strip.
And when two people pull the cracker, one person holding each end, it makes a loud cracking noise and the contents spill out.
The simultaneous pulling and noise are central to the fun, and the contents, by rule, are always the same three specific categories of items.
Mandatory and hilarious in their cheapness.
They really are. First, you get a terrible, cheesy joke. It's usually a pun so bad it makes everyone groan in unison.
Like, why was the snowman looking through the carrots? He was picking his nose.
Oh dear, yes, that's a classic example, that level of bad.
What about the other two mandatory items?
Second, you get a very cheap plastic or metal prize things, like a tiny plastic fish that curls when you breathe on it, a miniature tape measure, or a flimsy metal puzzle. The quality is intentionally low.
That's part of the charm. And the third item, the most important and arguably the most absurd element of the entire British Christmas dinner.
The third is the mandatory paper crown. Every single person who successfully pulls a cracker must immediately put on the paper crown, no matter their age, profession, or level of sobriety.
It is an absolutely unwritten, sacred rule.
It is. Our sources note that wearing the crown is often mandatory all day, even for serious adults, and it instantly transforms the dinner table into a slightly ridiculous paper-hatted royal court.
I love that image. It's the mandatory participation that makes it so unifying and fun. It forces everyone, even the most serious family member, to be a little bit silly.
It does. Crackers originated in Britain, so they are everywhere. The paper crown is non-negotiable. If you attend a dinner in the UK and don't wear your crown, you are actively violating the spirit of the day.
Once the table is cleared and everyone is wearing their crumpled paper crowns, the focus shifts to more ceremonial traditions and entertainment. At 3 p.m. on Christmas Day, the nation pauses for the royal Christmas message.
This is a remarkable cultural tradition. The reigning monarch for many decades, Queen Elizabeth II and now King Charles III, delivers an annual holiday speech.
And what's its function?
It reflects on the past year, often addresses national and international issues, and offers a message of unity and hope. It's a moment of national togetherness and continuity.
Given the chaos of the preceding hours, flaming puddings and cheesy jokes, it sounds like a very traditional communal moment of quiet reflection.
That is precisely its function. For the English learner, it's a demonstration of the monarch's cultural role. The content of the speech is highly analyzed and often provides subtle insights into the issues the royal family deems important that year.
But once that reflection is over, the house usually erupts again. The rest of the afternoon is often spent playing board games or, critically, recovering from the enormous meal by going for an afternoon walk.
The afternoon walk, regardless of the weather. It sounds like mandatory British suffering after all those chipolatas and Christmas pudding.
Well, is suffering, or is it a genuine need to decompress?
I think it's a therapeutic necessity. People often feel the need to get out of the house, get some fresh air, and quite literally walk off the enormous Christmas feast.
A long family walk, often to a park or into the countryside.
And it is taken no matter whether it's raining, snowing, or blowing a gale. It's a social convention that prevents cabin fever.
And for those who prefer indoor entertainment in the weeks surrounding Christmas, we have to talk about the unique theatrical event known as the pantomime, or just panto.
Panto is truly a unique British institution.
It's aimed at children, but adults are absolutely expected to engage.
Completely. And the conventions of panto are what make it so unique, especially the casting. There are some highly unusual rules about who plays which role, specifically involving cross-dressing.
Right, this is central to the comedy.
Absolutely. The main female comic role, the matriarch, known as the pantomime dame, is always played by a man in hilarious, oversized, ridiculous costumes.
And conversely, the young, handsome male hero, the principal boy,
Is traditionally played by a young woman.
So the casting is deliberately swapped to create absurdity and humor, and this is a fixed rule of the genre.
It is a fixed convention dating back to Victorian times. The pantomime dame provides broad physical comedy, often using double entendres that go over the children's heads but delight the adults.
And the audience participation is not just optional, it's a core component.
It is mandatory audience interaction. The audience must shout at the characters, cheer the heroes, and most famously, engage in call and response.
He's behind you.
Exactly. When the villain sneaks up behind the hero, the audience must scream, "He's behind you!" And the hero must turn around and say, "Oh, no, he isn't." And the audience screams back, "Oh, yes, he is."
That sounds completely immersive, noisy, and joyful.
It requires total commitment. If you go to a panto and don't shout, you haven't done it right. It's a completely chaotic, high-energy exchange.
We've covered food and drama, but we have to touch on the highly competitive musical tradition that takes place every year. The race for the Christmas #1.
The Christmas #1 is a unique British obsession. It is the song that reaches the #1 spot in the official music charts during Christmas week. The build-up and the betting are treated almost like a national sporting event.
Why does this one particular week hold so much competitive weight?
Because of the history and the huge media focus. Hitting Christmas #1 confers a unique status and a cultural badge of honor. The competition is fierce and the contenders range wildly.
From serious emotional ballads to
very silly novelty songs designed specifically to capture the public imagination. There's a strong element of rebellious voting too, where campaigns try to propel an underdog song over the established pop stars.
that element of conscious absurdity and public mobilization definitely ties back to the Christmas jumper and the paper crown. It's about shared, organized fun.
Absolutely. It's an annual cultural highlight to see who triumphs. Often it says as much about the public mood of the year as it does about musical taste. And if you've enjoyed learning about the history of the Christmas tree, the essential rule of the paper crown, or the drama of the flaming pudding, please take a moment right now to subscribe.
Yes, following us ensures you never miss a conversation about culture and language. We also love hearing your thoughts, so leave a comment below.
We've made it through Christmas Day, the stockings are empty, the pudding is eaten, and the paper crowns are slightly crumpled.
But the British holiday period is not over yet. We have to discuss the official day of recovery and shopping, Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, December 26th. It's a major public holiday, a bank holiday in the UK, meaning most people get the day off work. It serves two main functions today: post-festive recovery and massive consumption.
The origins of the name are debated, but it's not about fighting, it's about a box, correct?
That's a crucial clarification. It has nothing to do with boxing matches. The most widely accepted theory is that the name originated as the day when servants or workers would receive a Christmas box, a gift or bonus from their employers.
And what are the two defining modern activities that dominate Boxing Day now?
The first, and perhaps most enjoyable, is eating copious leftovers.
Of course.
Because Christmas dinner is such a huge undertaking, Boxing Day is dedicated to decompressing and finishing off the turkey, the ham, the roast potatoes, everything.
So it's a mandatory day off from culinary duty. And the second activity seems to be the polar opposite of relaxing.
It is. The second activity is major retail. Boxing Day has become one of the biggest shopping days of the year, similar in retail frenzy to Black Friday. People rush out to hit the sales. What about that family walk? Does that continue on to Boxing Day?
I would assume after 2 days of heavy eating, the need to get outside and clear the head would be even stronger.
It is, and it's a key part of the decompression process. The long walk truly solidifies itself as a central, recurring ritual of the British Christmas period.
This has been an incredibly detailed journey through the British festive season. Now, tell us, if you could leave one unusual treat and one piece of essential equipment for Father Christmas this year, what would they be? Try to use a new vocabulary word from today in your answer.
We encourage you to answer in the comments or just practice forming a sentence using terms like bauble, chipolatas, or maybe describing the kind of mischief your own naughty elves might get up to.
For example, you could say, I would leave Father Christmas some sushi and a brand new bauble for the nose of his sleigh.
Practice really makes perfect.
That's a great challenge. Thank you so much for joining us for this festive exploration of British Christmas traditions. It's been a pleasure walking through this with you.
It's been my pleasure, and for even better language learning, try listening to the same conversation again, not just today, but also one day later, 1 week later, and even a month from now. Spaced repetition really helps new language stick.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you these conversations about culture and language.
Until next time, goodbye.
And goodbye from me.